Hi all, this is a tutorial for Aztec DLTK, which doesn't currently have an online tutorial, so I thought I'd fill the gap on this one, which leaves only Cradle remaining. Aztec is not actually a particularly difficult level, and probably one of the easier long levels. I'd say maybe the easiest long level. However, there are a couple of tricks that are worth knowing about before you get started. So initially we're going to play, or start at least, with 2.4. And the reason we do that is to lure that very guard you just saw. The reason we do that is because he's got a laser, and we can draw him to the start of the level and get the laser really early in the level, which provides a couple of advantages. One being you will never run out of ammo, and the other being relatively a quieter weapon. So not only is it harder to manage an AR-34 in terms of ammo, but also mitigating the noise you make and drawing more guards into you. And the laser is much better at being quiet. So as it's going at the moment, it's a few failures and runs which are rather or opening cutscenes that are particularly unhelpful. So we're just quitting out all of them. And this can be a little bit frustrating, but probably on the balance it will save you time. It makes it so much easier to complete by doing this. It's worth going through. And I'll explain a little bit about how you use the second controller in case you don't know, because it took me a while to work it out. So I'm hoping this one is the correct cutscene. Okay. I'm going to press, as soon as that text comes up saying Aztec Complex, I'll press A twice. So A, Z, Z, and that should lose one bullet at the right time, and you'll see the guard reacting. Now I'm going to edge out onto this guard, who is a serial grenade puller, and then just back into the back left of the opening alcove, and just shoot the bullets to draw the other two guards in towards you. And we have survived. Generally, you end up with pretty much ghost health. So first, I'm going to deal with the guy in the passageway. I'm going to stay relatively far left so I don't get seen by the bar guard behind the crate. You also need to note that you need to do this relatively quickly, because otherwise the laser guard will turn up. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get a line on his head. I failed to do that because he moved around a little bit, and I got rather lucky with an invisible wall. What I'm going to do is shoot him from while he's in the corridor, so it's easy enough for me to back away when I've lost my 7 bullets. So there's the laser guard. I accidentally saw him. I'm going to do the same approach. I'm going to miss the first one, but get out of the way quickly. Shoot him, get 7 away, and then I'm going to back around the corner, which gives me time to reload, essentially. It's one of the things in DLTK is that when the PP7 obviously only has 7 bullets, and you've got to reload when you're shooting them, so you want to have something you can hide behind, or at least make the guard have to move, because if you just stand there, the guard will shoot you before you can reload and do anything about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out the 2 guards who are either side of the corridor. 9 bullets into that side will draw out only the one from the left. Then, with the laser, I'm going to shoot him. And I shoot him relatively slowly in the first instance because I want him to pull a grenade, because grenades are relatively useful later on in the level. Same deal here. I'm just going to let him come. I don't need to do the hiding thing so much here, because obviously with the laser you can just keep shooting and there's no reload, which is very helpful. One thing I would note is on the laser guard who comes running first of all, I would recommend letting him come into the room so he drops the laser in the room rather than having to go into that corridor where you risk being shot by this guard who's standing there. What I'm doing now is I'm going to try and get rid of him, and I'm going to keep opening and closing the door while crouched and get a few headshots in on this guard. The momentum of this door is a little bit funny. So you want to be quite vigilant about opening and closing it. But as soon as you see the which we heard earlier, you know his body armor's off. And then it's much easier to shoot him with the laser because you'll actually have the audio cue that you're hitting him. Because if he's got body armor, you can't hear when you're hitting him. It makes no sound. Also, you can spot that the contact animation when it hits a person or a character is slightly different. You can kind of see if it's working. So I'm being very, very cautious. I think he's already dead. I'm just going to keep going for the hell of it. And then I think I'm going to use the AR-34 to check. I can't see him. So he might be ducked, but he doesn't tend to duck for particularly long. Once I'm confident he's gone, I am going to go into the corridor and edge along the left-hand wall fairly carefully. So I picked up one grenade. There's another grenade somewhere else, which I will have to go back and find. I say have to, I will go back and find. Because it's useful. So I'm going to try and get the guy's elbow here. Remember, this guy's right-handed, so you've got to be really slow in edging out. Now, I've got my line with the AR-34, I'm just going to shoot away. Now he's thrown a grenade, so that is going to obscure my vision. But I can hear that I'm hitting him now. Because of that grunting. This isn't necessarily the best way to do this, because obviously he could move slightly left, and therefore he would be behind the pillar, but you can always edge out very slowly and do it bit by bit. So here, I can't see him anymore. I'll be making a few contacts, so I should be alright, but I'm going to edge very, very slowly and make sure that he hasn't just migrated to the left. So I don't think he's there. Yeah, I think at this point I'm confident, so I'm just going to stay with the guard to the left between, or the pillar between me and the guard to the left. Do a quick lean, get him out, and when he stops shooting, you've got a bit of gap and you run onto this bridge. If you're on this bridge, that guard can't shoot you, nor could the one on the right if you happen to get in that position. But yeah, he's easily dealt with. I think I was shooting him slowly there only because I was trying to see if he wanted to drop a grenade, which, you know, might have been some use. Okay, run up here, shoot 9 bullets, and then throw the grenade fairly quickly. And this is going to eliminate 3 guards, which is the right number. You don't want to shoot too much because you'll probably lure too many guards, but 3 is the perfect number because it makes the next bit very easy to deal with. Because you're going to do the mainframe glass. Is it mainframe glass? The glass door trick. And this method works very, very consistently, like near enough 100% of the time. And it's not actually particularly fussy either, so that's good. I'm looking for the grenade here, but it turns out it was in the atom boson position, being embedded in the wall. And what I'm going to do is run into here and dart to the left and shoot, and then get to the wall and turn around. If you stay looking at the wall, it doesn't work because you want the guard to be stuck in the mainframe. The advantage with having shot 9 bullets in that previous lore is that you only have to deal with one of the guards just there, and if you deal with 2, they might not be aligned, and then you're a bit stuffed, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is get right up tight to the seam in the door, and I'm going to hit the guy in the mainframe once, then shoot a few bullets past him, and then keep quick pausing. Generally, I say quick pause. I think you're meant to do it until the guy in the mainframe starts jogging on the spot rather than going side to side, but I'm not sure if that's actually true because I've clearly got bored of that there and just run off. So I've made a slight mistake here in that I am now facing into the room, and you can hear that the mainframe will not open. it's still whirling away. So I need to face into the wall to make that happen. Face into the wall for a bit, then I'll turn around just to make sure, in case the glass door doesn't work, that you can hear that it has. And then I'm going to use the grenade I have, and I'm going to edge as far right as possible and chuck it onto the floor and try and blow up both of them that way. If it doesn't work, there's no great loss because you've got the laser, and they'll both run around the corner and they should be in a line. I'm going to edge out slowly and make sure that's happened. I don't think there's any risk if you throw the grenade of destroying any of this critical stuff. However, I might be wrong, so I may have been taking a bit of a chance there. The grenade was going off to the right, and I don't think you can blow up the DAS. I think you might be able to blow up the floppy disk drive. So here, I am going to shoot this guard with the laser. Just edge out at him slowly. Unless you move particularly quickly, he won't see you. But I'm going to hit him with loads of body shots because I don't want to risk missing. And as it turns out, this surprised me, is I've lured out one of the guards from the exhaust bay. So that, I didn't expect that to happen because I thought the laser was quieter than that, but there's no problem. And being in this place, he's got to run round the corner to get to you, so you'll have plenty of notice. I'm just being extra cautious in case I've lured anybody else out. It's highly unlikely, but it costs very little to wait another few seconds. The next lure I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get the other guard from the exhaust bay, and also a guard who I believe is the one who comes running initially when you get through the exhaust bay, when it closes behind you. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Someone else might be able to tell me. So making loads of noise with the AR-34 in that position draws out one guard from the exhaust bay and another guy from further down. And standing in this position by the console is actually really safe because they'd have to come all the way down the corridor to be able to shoot you, and you can just pierce through them with the laser. The big advantage, one of the big advantages with having the laser so early is that it doesn't run out of ammo, and it also penetrates. So if you get guards in a line, or if you get in a position such that they would have to be in a line to get to you, it's not like one is going to run around and be meat shielded or whatever. So here, I've eliminated those ones. They're both deaf, so they're not really worth worrying about. Now here, I'm going to shoot out the console, making a reasonable amount of noise. So there's 6 bullets there, and how many bullets do I get on this guy? I'm going to draw him down. Another, I can't remember what the number was to start with. Was it 8? Can't remember. Okay, 2 bullets on the drone gun. I can blow up the drone gun as soon as the first guard comes. And that first guard is a guard from sort of between the big room and Jaws. And he is a very useful one to lure out because he can be quite annoying. I'm just waiting here to see if I've lured anybody else. I've never quite worked out exactly the precise way in which you lure people out. So there is a little bit of variability depending on how many bullets you shoot, where you shoot the bullets from. But this one's been quite comfortable. Ordinarily, that amount of shooting would lure out 3. However, one of the laser guards isn't lured because you lured him right at the start of the level. So here, I'm going to do it in a particular order that I think is best to deal with this room. So blow up that drone. Then I'm going to shoot into the entrance there because there's a guard just standing there. And I'm just going to keep shooting, not necessarily getting headshots, so it might take a while to shoot him. Now, the thing that concerns me is in that staircase that he's in, there is another guard. So he's like the back right, in the front left of the staircase. And I'm pretty sure he's the one who came running from that previous lure. However, I'm always nervous that he hasn't been lured out. I'm going to shoot this drone with the PP7. The reason I do it with the PP7 is because I don't want to break any of the glass that's there, because I think the glass gives you a fair bit of protection from the laser guard, who is second from the right. And he's the only one you actually need to poke out on at any point. So this is me being cautious and trying to see if I can lure out the guard from the staircase. The other guard from the staircase, although I'm pretty confident he was the one who was actually lured earlier. So here I'll just nip across into the crate. Generally you're safe because the glass is intact, I think, but don't loiter. And I'm just going to edge so I can see a bit of the far box, and I know the guard standing slightly to the left. I'm just going to blast through the crate so I don't have to be able to see him to shoot him. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I'm pretty confident that he is gone. I could just lean back and you can see he's gone, and just keep firing just in case. But now I'm in a position to get rid of both of the drone guns, because they can just be a little bit annoying. Also, the next bit takes absolutely ages, and I sometimes forget about the drone gun. So this bit is really annoying, and it's probably annoying to watch. So I apologise for that. But what I'm going to do is line up my laser with the top, just above the top of the crate, so I know it will be on the right vertical to hit the two guards who are to the left. The problem is, I'm not going to look at them, because if you poke out on them, they will shoot straight away, and even with body armour, you're dead. You can cope with an AR-34 shot if you've got body armour, but not a laser. The problem is, because it's blind, I paused there because you could hear the guy taking damage. Because they initially have body armour on, you won't know if you've hit them first time. So you need to hit the same spot a number of times and then move on to a slight increment to the left. And you end up, you can go through the whole sort of arc of it and not be quite sure if you've actually hit them or not. So I'm just going to keep doing this for ages, and I think at some point I end up just doing a very, very small quickly. Okay, I've clearly messed it up because I heard and you can also hear laser shooting. I say I've messed it up because I've heard an but I suspect that was the guy I was hitting earlier, just didn't hit him enough. But essentially, once you've got rid of these two guards, there is only one thing you need to do in the level. And throughout this level, most of the kills after the first one or two, actually the first one or two, they can all be done fairly safely, as long as you're prepared to be patient. So hence the reason it's a long level, but a relatively easy level. The greatest enemy is impatience. Hearing the over the sound of the laser is probably the biggest challenge for me personally. Can still hear shooting. Okay, there's definitely umphing. The other problem is, you can hear the but you can't tell when they've actually died. So, I'm not sure. So what do? I'm going to shoot a few AR-34 bullets because they've got a bit of a spray on them, I thought, oh, there's a chance it might be. Okay, well that was risky. So I could tell that there wasn't a guard dead, but he may well have shot me with his fairly lightning reaction. So if you do quickly really, really quickly, don't linger at all. Call this the pragmatic approach, because you're just taking as much time, and it seems frustrating because you're kind of taking like 20 minutes to do a run. However, that is less time than taking 5 minutes to do it and taking 100 attempts. So this is I feel like a very efficient method. It is quite annoying at the time. So here is the only bit that needs to be done, and this is slightly hair raising. So what I'm going to do is quickly, very fast, and encourage the guy to shoot. He will shoot up to about 5 times, and you kind of want one of the animations where he shoots 5 times, because then you can confidently run there. But you can sneak him in the gap between his animations. But I would recommend practicing that so you're comfortable with the timing and the movement, because you really don't want to lose a run at this point, which I have done, and it's incredibly annoying. In fact, actually, one time I got to here and uploaded the launch protocol, and then realised I hadn't actually done the exhaust bay. Was it the exhaust bay? No, I hadn't reprogrammed I hadn't done the floppy disk thing, and so I had to go all the way back, which is a really bad way of doing things. However, that is a completion, and as I say, I'll sort of reiterate that I don't think this is a difficult level, but it is quite a long level, and some of the aspects involved are quite irritating. Using 2.4 at the start is a little bit frustrating, but not majorly problematic, because you're waiting for one particular cutscene of about 3 different ones that are possible. And the chances of you surviving the grenade are actually a little bit better than it might look. Probably about 1 in 2, 1 in 3 actually. And the other thing is, yeah, those long shots in that big room, it's by far the safest way of doing it, but it does take time. Anyway, so that will conclude my ramblings. It's probably not the greatest DLTK completion available. If you look at the rankings, there are some different approaches, but this one has some voiceover, which is probably the best I can say for it. Thanks for viewing, and good luck with the completion.